After 25 years at An Grianan Theatre, because Daithi Ramsey is exiting. Stage left. And 25 years is a long history in one place. And he was headhunted by Deirdre McBride 25 years ago. He started up a comedy club in Letterkenny, and Deirdre figured, well, if he get names like that to a comedy club, sure, what could he do for the theatre? Isn't that exactly how it happened, Dai?
That's not quite exactly how it happened,
Don't
John.
Don't spoil a good story.
I'd like to say Patricia's name is Patricia as well.
Sorry.
Not sure. Yeah, no, well, that's, yeah. I mean, she did point me towards the job application in the paper, so I did have to apply and be interviewed with everyone else.
But she saw the potential.
She saw the potential. Yeah.
And like any good scout or manager would, he could do a job for us.
Exactly. I think when I saw it, I mean, for me, the attraction was that it was in Letterkenny. You know, had it been anywhere else, because I was working for the health board, I was working in a unit for teenagers taken into care, so it was a very different area. And I was doing the gigs on the side, the comedy club, the music gigs.
Which is where your heart was.
Yeah.
But you left a good job to go to another good job.
Exactly.
As it turned out.
But only because it was in Letterkenny. Had it been anywhere else, in my head I was like, well, I can sell things to people in Letterkenny. I understand Letterkenny. You know, I'm from Letterkenny. I understand it, so I could do that job. I don't think had it been anywhere else, I'd have looked at it in the same way.
Right. But then, for somebody who had started up a comedy club and was, getting comedians to come to it, et cetera, it was kind of the logical extension of that to go into the theatre and take care of some of the bookings and get it booking acts and stuff and find out what was suitable and see what would work.
Absolutely. Funnily enough, with that comedy club, the one after that didn't go as well.
All right.
Right? It's funny. She turned up to the one where Kevin McAleer was sold out, which was great. And then the next one had 12 people turn up, and it was a double headliner of Dara O'Brien and Deirdre O'Kane.
And 12 people.
12 people. We actually did. Basically, what happened was Dara said, give them their money back, pay Deirdre her fee, because she was just on 100 quid or whatever. Supports, and he said, you know what, I'll take them in the bar and give them a drink.
Oh my God.
And he took them in the bar and chatted to them.
And you see Dara O'Brien now and all the TV appearances and the big venues and all the rest, and you think, wow, he's creaming it. Forget about the nights when there was just a handful of people there. And he certainly left
his next gig for us was in the foyer of the theatre. So we tried doing comedy nights in there, small comedy nights there. And then he played half the auditorium the next. So people build up. But I love comedy. I love music. So both of those, as you say,
but you mentioned there about 12 people. Yeah. I mean, you just don't know when you're booking an act. You just don't know what's going to go down. And especially with comedians, because you want to book them, I suppose, in a way on the way up. Because then when they get very big, they're off to the 3 Arena or even the Millennium Forum or whatever and just get too big.
Yeah.
Or how many is it?
383. 383 now. 345 originally, the extended.
Right. And so as a result, you're kind of looking for talent, up and coming talent all the time.
That was the idea. And I mean, I remember Des Bishop saying to me, I will always come back here, no matter what, because you booked me when I was small. You believed in me. You saw me. I'll always come back here. And that's what you're hoping to get, that relationship. Which
makes the latest big comedy booking just a little bit strange. I'll never put it in. What's his name?
John Bishop.
John Bishop. You managed to secure John Bishop, not just for one night, but for 2 nights. How did you swing that one?
But what happens there?
Were you involved there?
Yeah, it's the relationships you build up over time, right? So Bren Berry, who runs Vicar Street, main man Dakin Promotions, absolutely lovely fella from the band Revelino, if you remember Revelino back in the day. And Bren has a couple of good singles at the moment out that he's doing. But Bren, we did the comedy club in 2006 together, the Letterkenny Comedy Club, which a lot of people won't remember. And what Bren did with that was went on to turn into the Ivy Gardens, the comedy club in the Ivy Gardens every year. Okay. So Bren, he also is Tommy Tiernan's agent, and we've worked with him a lot. Bren really trusts and liked us. We get on.
Connections.
Yeah. So John Bishop said he was coming. He's going to do the Wild Atlantic Way, ending up in Cork, which is an Aiken Promotions gig, the Marquee in Cork. And he said to Bren, I'm going to start in Donegal, on a motorbike, by the way, do the Wild Atlantic Way. Maybe you'll get me a gig in Galway as well. And Bren basically said, if you're starting in Donegal, you're playing in An Grianan.
Brilliant.
So that's what he did. He rang me, and I couldn't believe when he went for the second gig as well, because I just thought, this is a one-off. But I presume he wants to stay in Donegal and do some things.
Yeah, so it's great that he, gets a couple of gigs and, pays for his stay here. Plus, the Marquee in Cork where he finishes, how many does that hold?
Well, I think, I don't know, but I'd say it's about 4,000 or 5,000,
There you go. And you're getting him in a venue with the
383, which pretty much broke the booking system. It pretty much did.
Well, imagine.
It was. I've never seen anything like it.
Gone.
3 minutes the first gig, and the screen froze on us.
Yeah. Okay, not every gig is like that, and some you take a chance on, and you end up with a handful of people, and others then, it's great. It performed far better than expected. Notables along the way, good, bad, or indifferent. What stands out for you?
What stands out for me, I suppose, is I suppose for me a lot of the ones I booked. So Desmond Decker, the Jamaican ska singer, The Israelites, the song that it's been used for 1 million adverts at this stage, hasn't it? So we had
what sort of a night was that?
It was amazing. Basically,
it sold out.
Oh, sold out.
Yeah.
It was early 2000s, and he had a kind of big up kind of man. So he had a guy come out because he's quite a quiet, unassuming fella himself.
To warm up the crowd for him.
To sort of, tell everybody, to just come on, get going. Well, he was there the whole time doing the mic, and basically after the first song, he just went, "What are you all doing sitting down? Get up." And the whole place just got up and danced. And I'd say it's the only night in the theatre where everybody was dancing.
Brilliant. But it's reggae, and it's lively reggae a lot of it as well.
Exactly. But I had my little 3-year-old then, Emery, my 3-year-old child then. Emery's now 24. So, dancing beside me. And that was lovely.
Memories.
That's lovely. And that's, it's the memories made, isn't it?
Well, it's not just Desmond Decker. There's been so many great acts in the theatre, and you'd have seen them all over your 25 years.
John Prine, I mean, the great John Prine, and I was delighted to
mesmerising.
Get that. Yeah. Incredible performer and lovely guy.
Would you?
David Gray.
So. David Gray,
what a big artist. And the thing is, when you see those big artists, and Jack Dee's another one I think of in that vein, in terms of when you see them, even though you're not a huge, I wouldn't be a huge fan of David Gray's music before, or Jack Dee's comedy. He's a huge artist, so I'm taking him. But then you see them on a stage, and you see David Gray, and you're like, oh, I get it. I get why they're so big. They are so good. Whether it's your type of thing.
Yeah, just so professional, and when
they just got it,
when they come out there under the lights, are switched on.
What we used to call the X Factor before the TV show.
All right,
they've got it.
The TV show, then.
But then I remember seeing first time I saw Alton on the stage, and Mairead Ní Mhaoine, who also has got it. Mairead Ní Mhaoine walks on stage, and I'm like, oh, she's a star. Mm-hmm. It was almost genuinely. It almost looked like there was a glow around her. And
you're dealing with these people, and you're chatting to them behind the scenes, and it's all matter of fact, and the nuts and bolts and the smaller things. But then you're with the rest of the audience, and you're stood up the back in the dark, and the lights are on, and they're on stage, and then they either have it, or they don't, or there's maybe somewhere in between. But generalizing, would the bigger the artists, the more popular that they are, or just the bigger that they are, the easier they are to deal with?
Normally 99% of the time, the bigger they are, the more relaxed they are, and the more they enjoy just a natural chat.
Okay.
You can sit and just chat with them.
No airs and graces.
Absolutely none.
Well, you in that interview there at the weekend with the Donegal News, surprisingly, you named names because when there's an interview with somebody who's in the industry, they'll always go, "Yeah, well, we've had a few experiences the other way, but I'd rather not, name names." Well, you're out of the industry now, so you don't care.
Yeah. That's Paddy Walsh. She draws it out of you. You know what I mean?
Good. So anyway, going back to Michelle Shocked, you got a bit of an eye opener, did you?
Well, it's interesting that with Michelle Shocked that, I think she'd had a bad day, in fairness to her. She'd had a very bad day. Somehow, she had driven from Galway to Letterkenny via Enniskillen.
Oh, right. That would put you in bad humour.
We've all been sent the wrong way by Google Maps, so, that would put you in bad humour. But, I just wasn't impressed with how she
interacted? Was it
with
on
the
stage
staff
or off stage?
Oh, off stage. Oh, she was lovely to the audience. Oh, I mean, it infuriated me that she went on stage and was like doing the whole "we're in this together" and we're all the workers unite kind of thing, and you're thinking that's not how you were talking to the workers a short while ago. But interestingly, she pretty much got herself cancelled a few months later in the States, so I wasn't surprised to see that happening either.
Karma.
Yeah.
Comedy is close to your heart, and you know more than Darrell Breen. You would have, a lot of comedians who are just playing to a handful or starting off or started in the foyer and worked their way up. And I'm chatting about big names: Bill Bailey, Tommy Tiernan, Dylan Moore. But I suppose you'd have then watched on and seen them progressing. But it's great then when you get them back to the theatre.
Oh, absolutely. And someone like Des Bishop or Neil Delamere, who I'm very fond of, lovely guy, Neil, absolute gent. Neil, like, I've seen him build up over the years to where he's selling 2 houses for us now a year. I'll have to stop saying us. Where he's selling 2 houses a year for the theatre.
Selling the theatre out 2 nights, in other words.
Yeah.
2 houses, that's...
Sorry, industry talk. Industry speak. So, he's probably built himself he bought himself a very nice house. I know he has in Dublin. So, but yeah, starting off with, I think he probably did the foyer as well. So probably starting off to 60, 70, next time there's 100, next time there's 200. Yeah. But he's a real pro, Neil. I mean, if anybody is interested in how to build a career in the Irish entertainment business, Neil would be a fine study.
He's a good example.
I remember him saying to me, you got to get in the car. You got to get in the car. Okay. You've got to drive the country. You've got to do the gigs.
Okay. We're chatting here about comedians and singers and very well-known names, but local productions, and in a way, it's almost the bread and butter of the theatre. And I'm thinking about runs of like for a full week, and one has just finished with the Addams Family, and excellent it was as well. Like,
it was indeed.
Local productions, like over the 25 years, local productions have come on in leaps and bounds, and the one just finished, I mean, that's almost semi-professional, or at least that's the impression I got.
I mean, I don't like the delineation between that kind of amateur professional anyway. I think local is a very good term for what they do here. There's a lot of people, for example, the music and drama group had The Alternative recently, and I mean, it was an incredible production. And then you've got Iarla McGowan, who is a professional actor in that as well, so, and I have to say, he was playing beside Elaine Gillespie, and Elaine was well able for him. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
She was able to get up. Yeah, exactly. And the talent's there, there's no lack of talent at all. And what the difference was, I guess, in the early days was the production standards. Because if you're doing it in the community hall or the school hall, you haven't got all the equipment, you haven't got the availability, and that stuff's moved on so much. But they've really pulled that up now.
Okay, but that's where the theatre came in. That's why the theatre made such good sense all those years ago. And it gave a professional veneer to what local productions were trying to do, amongst other things. Yeah.
And I have to say, to give a nod to my old colleague Niall Cranny, the technical manager. Niall, he's so good.
Keeps up to date.
He keeps up to date, but he's so giving, really. He really...
Flexible.
He's... with his advice, with his knowledge, he'll share everything. He'll help people out. He's so helpful. Yeah. And I think a lot of An Grianan's reputation is based on Niall and the technical team as well. And the other people I worked with, it's that reputation of being helpful.
I've just heard Donal again praising them, and I suppose it's only behind the scenes, and something like that is pulled hither and thither when there's a local production. Can you do this? And what about that?
Oh, absolutely.
And to be accommodating, it's no small task.
I think because Niall has that trust of people, because the trust is there between the groups and the technical team in the theatre, so he'll start early with them and talk to them about what is possible, what can be done. And as I say, for The Alternative, Niall was actually on stage operating for them as well,
There you go. It was a great production. I have a funny feeling we'll be seeing it again, and it'll be packed out. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
Your story continues, just not at the theatre. So where are you off to now?
I'm going to be working for the County Council. I'll be part of the culture team. I shall be the Creative Communities Engagement Officer.
They'll never get that on your door.
No, I think it's already been shortened to CCO, I've been told.
Whoa.
So Creative Communities Officer.
Sounds even more impressive.
Yeah. So it's a Creative Ireland funded post. Creative Ireland, basically the mission statement, it's a government initiative, but basically the mission statement is that every person in Ireland should have access to and availability of creativity in their everyday life, which I think for a government to say that, for a country to say that, is incredible. And I think it shows that love, the gra we have for
But how do you help
creativity.
make that happen?
Well, there's money. Creative Ireland has money, there's funding.
Fund always helps, yes.
So that's already been happening, the Creative Ireland. So An Grianan, for example, the National Day for Youth, that's a centrepiece of, that'll be my responsibility when I get there. But other things, I know you had Joe on talking about thatching, didn't you?
Yes.
So that Creative Ireland have been funding towards that. So it's quite a broad. What Creative Ireland do is quite broad. They have the creative schools as well.
Okay.
So there's a very broad thing there. I'm in the creative communities. As I say, there'll be some funding and hopefully just getting people doing things.
Around the county a fair bit, yeah? You're going to be getting in the car.
That's the exciting thing for me. That's a huge attraction for me. We live in the most beautiful county. I love it. The last number of years, my dad's a big walker. We've been out and about doing the walking. I love it. And that's, I've been sitting in one building for 25 years, no more. How long are you sitting here, John?
A long time too. So you had no choice. You were based here, and you didn't have to, or you couldn't really move from here.
Yeah.
But now this job entails you're going to be in all corners of the
Yeah, and that's a huge attraction for me. I love the idea. I love getting out. Sure, yourself. I love chatting to people.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, it's a new chapter in your working life, and not that you're afraid of new challenges. Yes, I get the impression you're willing to try anything, and the best luck with it.
Thank you,
I know
John.
we've had a lot of dealings behind the scenes, and you've been up here at Highland any number of times as well, and on air and so on. And I have no doubt that you'll be a success in your new role. And I don't know who headhunted you there, whether you just saw the application and applied yourself. But Patricia can't take credit for this one.
No. This is very much me. I think, again, much like when I was looking at the job in the theatre, I saw the job description and thought, oh, that's me. It just sounded like me. Obviously, I come from a community social work background originally.
It is,
and you add that to the arts.
It's a great place to start, a great starting point.
Yeah.
That's for me. And you get it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it was a lot of work to get it.
I'm sure.
It's amazing how much goes into a job application these days, particularly for a state body. You really have to dot the I's, cross the T's and tick the boxes and all that kind of thing.
But I'm sure you'll be no stranger to An Grianan.
No. Do you know what?
Just because you're not working there doesn't
I'm planning to go back Saturday night. Michael Murphy, who's one of the very best performers in Ireland, will be doing the third in his trilogy. Do you know what? I should remember the name, but Kitsy Rainey, basically. Okay. There's a longer title there, but it's an absolutely beautiful show. I saw it in the Hawkswell, so I did occasionally get out and about. Right. I saw it in the Hawkswell. It's an absolutely beautiful theatre show, and I would recommend everyone go to it. So I'll be back on Saturday night.
All right, then. We'll be seeing you around, no doubt. Thanks, Dai.
Thank you, John.
And the best luck.
Cheers.